Hello, my name's Brittany and I'm from New Zealand but I live in Australia, and I've been participating in the God's Way participant days that God's Way organisation runs for about 3 years now, and I just wanted to talk about my experience, which is not all going to fit into one video because I feel so passionate and lucky and excited about God's Way and what they're doing and what this process has been like for me. So it's definitely not going to all fit into one video, but I will just start with some stuff that I want to talk about, and I'll make a separate video. I want to make a separate video talking about some of the environmental work that God's Way organisation does and how they do it, and what we've been learning as participants about how to do specific tasks that work towards regenerating the environment. So I would like to talk about that separately because I think it deserves its own video and there's a lot about it. So yeah, but basically what I have experienced in my time participating in the God's Way volunteer or participant days is we've done a lot. They've hosted a lot of environmental recovery projects, and sometimes there's other things that we do, like sometimes some of us will help out in Jesus and Mary's studio, just cleaning up or organising things or doing different tasks that they ask us to do, or sometimes there'll be cleaning tasks or different things like that. And what I love about all of it is that no matter what you're doing, the object is to learn in practice, in practical situations, what God's love looks like. And so that's what they're always trying to teach us. And it's just, I can't express the value of having the practical application. So seeing yourself in practical situations and being in practical situations with other people and on Jesus and Mary's property or on a God's Way owned property or wherever you are, and actually getting to do tasks and seeing where you're at, seeing where you are loving or unloving, or where your resistances are, or how much you hate hard work and why, or all these different things. It's like a completely different experience to going to an assistance group. It's a completely different experience to just watching Divine Truth on YouTube and thinking that you get it. When you come here and you engage with the loving directors and managers like Jesus and Mary and Eloisa and Corny and Phoebe and Saoirse, it's like you actually start to get an education in where you're at and what love would actually do. So I just love that, because it's not just about coming and doing some environmental regeneration, which in itself is an awesome thing, but you get to learn these lessons and you get to be in these places where love and truth are upheld, and you get to feel how different that is from anything else in the rest of the world. And that makes me feel like crying in itself, because it feels so different when there's a place, like a physical place, but a place where people are upholding love and truth and have God as their guide of what to do. And Jesus is sort of the main sort of guide for everyone towards like what is loving and what would God do, and what does love and truth look like in practical application on earth that we can do in our daily lives. I just think it's amazing, and it feels so different from anything else that I've ever experienced. It's like, for me, it feels at times confronting, but it feels very relieving as well. And I'm just starting to get more sensitive to how much speaking truth and being truthful and having a motivation for truth and love, it changes the atmosphere of a place. And the more people that do it, the better the atmosphere feels. And I just really feel like if we can get that down in this situation, where in the participant days with God's Way, if we can get that down, like all of us who participate and anybody who comes to participate, and then take it out into the world, or it so many people do it that it becomes the way in the world, things would change so much. And I feel like every problem that I think about, whether it's environmental or spiritual or sexual or financial or any of the stuff that's happening on earth, because there's so many, obviously we know there's so much wrong with what's happening on earth, but everything I think about, no matter how big the problem is, like war or whatever, it always boils back down to what we're learning at God's way and putting that into practice for me personally, or trying to, and the fact that that's what I can do to help. That's the only thing that I can actually really do to change the world. Like, you can go out and plant trees and that might help the environment, but if you haven't changed your soul and you haven't changed in your heart, and you're still living in your addictions, and you're still consuming a lot of products, or you're consuming meat, or you're doing all these things in your addictions, it far outweighs the good deed that you did by planting the trees. So it really, everything comes back down to a soul-based change, and that's what I feel like are the lessons that they're teaching us at the participant days via the physical activities that we do. So it's much more than just weeding, for example. It's an education in love while you're doing a task that is quite easy physically. And I just think that it's so special, and it's such a gift that these loving teachers have decided to open up their lives and their homes and their time and their resources and their money and their energy to create a space on earth where there's an education. You can come and you can get an education in love, and you can start learning to understand what God's way would actually be, and how different that is to the world's way, and how confronting that is to you on a personal level, and why it's so confronting. And you can see, do I even want to change? And you can look at, do I even want to serve, or am I just coming here because I want to be loved, which has been a big driver for me. Like, my feeling of service hasn't been very pure, and I haven't been a very like giving person, and I would like to change that. But these are all the things that I've got to learn while I've been here, and I think that is so valuable. And I love it. I love the days. I love that we get a practical education in how to actually do things on a spiritual, emotional level to change. But also, Jesus and the other directors are so intelligent and motivated and enthusiastic about the practical side of things. So like, we learn so much. Like, I've learned how to service machinery, and I've learned the ways that they have designed terraces, and the way that the process of the things that they do. And like I said, I'll talk about that in a whole other video, because I just think there's so much to it. But you get to learn these things that I thought that I could only learn if I went to university and did an environmental planning degree. And when I got there and I started that degree, I realized that people don't know how to fix the problems, like, and they don't want to go out and get their hands dirty either. And that's a confronting thing for people too. It's like, no, if we want to actually change the environment and we want to change things, everyone's going to have to actually go out and get uncomfortable and work in the hot sun and get their dirt under their fingernails, and not just be sitting in an office making decisions about things, which I thought that I needed to go to university to learn how to do. But like I said, I realized that they don't know. Like, the lecturer would literally be like, yeah, this is how messed up everything is, and it's going to be up to you guys to work out how to fix it. And no one knows how to fix it. And I think it's a lot to do with addictions, because it's not like humans can't figure things out. We've figured out a lot as a race, how to do amazing things, but there's so much addiction in the way that we as a collective aren't being logical about how to solve the world's problems. And that's where I love God's way, because they're logical about how to solve the problems. They're logical about processes of how to do things physically and spiritually. And so it's just this one of a kind. There's nothing like it on earth. And within that as well, there's the usual hierarchies that you would have in a company or in like in an organization. It's like the hierarchy, if you could call it that, is based on love. So it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or a child or what. I don't know if I really want to call it even hierarchy, but I suppose it is. It's kind of like a hierarchy of love. It's just different from the hierarchies that we're used to, which are more sort of like power based and just, yucky. But this is, it's based around love. So love and soul condition and desire for God and desire for truth and love and humility, and the 5 principles that they teach us, which are love, truth, humility, action, and faith. And then the 6th one is prayer, if that's what you choose. And that's what everything's centered around, and it's just so different from anything else that's out there. And I just wanted to talk about it because I love it so much, and I love going out and learning what I hoped to learn at uni in such a bigger and better way, and physically being in the environment and seeing how change can happen if you're consistent. And this is what I mean. It's like you can see how the physical lessons cross over into your spiritual lessons. It's like you have to be consistent with your environmental work to see a change, and you have to be consistent with your spiritual work to see a change. And there's all of these beautiful lessons that just cross over, or that we can learn, and it's just such a beautiful, loving gift that they're giving us. And I just wanted to share about it and how it feels and how different it is from just sitting around watching YouTube videos and not really having an understanding of where you're at spiritually, because you don't until you get direct feedback and you're around these loving people and you're in these situations where you need to work or be honest or interact with other people, especially people that don't feed your addictions or different people that you usually wouldn't interact with, which is another thing that I love about this organization, is that all these different people are attracted to it, of different ages and cultures, and they're from different places around the world. It's like you get to sort of interact with people that you otherwise wouldn't, because it's sort of, and it's like in your little life, you stay in your little bubble with your people that you feel comfortable with, that are similar to you or have your own similar injuries or codependent corresponding injuries, and you sort of end up in this little bubble which is quite isolated. And then I can just personally for myself see how much that will cross over into my spirit life if I don't work through it. Like I'll just be sort of in this location where there's either no one or there's women that have the same emotions as me, and you get to sort of like challenge that, or the challenge is put upon you in this environment where there's all these different people with these different injuries or different personalities or different different ages and different life experiences. And it's good to mess it up and shake it up and change it up and have those different experiences, because that teaches you a lot. And I feel like when we're just on our own tangent in life, we don't do that because we don't want to be confronted. We want to just be in our addictions and in our little safe zones and in our little spheres of people that we think are similar to us and are therefore good. And it all gets mixed up at these God way events. And so I just love that so much. And then I think the biggest gift has been, especially in this last year and a half, has been Jesus teaching us and taking so much time, and Mary to teach us the lessons of love. And just in this last year and a half, like, it has been so amazing, and they've taken so much time. Like, there are days where in a week they'll sit with us like 3 or 4 afternoons a week and talk for hours about spiritual matters. And they've given us so much time and so much education, and it's just been amazing. And it's just, I can't really explain what I can't explain it. It's like the teaching has just been so on point. I feel like I haven't done with it what I haven't run with it like I could have, but in some ways I feel like things have clicked for me, or I've had more of a desire for a personal relationship with God, and I've at times actually connected to God, and I feel I've received God's love, and it wouldn't I feel it's been thanks to these talks, these educational talks that Jesus and Mary have been given us, and especially Jesus, like it's just been so on point, and I just can't believe sometimes that I'm alive in this time where this is happening, and it begs the question, what am I going to do with that? What am I going to do with this education personally? And then what am I going to do to share what I've learned, or what am I going to do if I spiritually develop? How am I going to pay this forward? It brings up a lot of questions about existence and life and what you're going to do, and he just brings it back to these important things that we're not focusing on usually. And so it's been such a gift, and I don't know, I think that's as much as I'll probably say in this video, but I would like to share some of the key points that he's been teaching us over this time, just for anybody who hasn't been able to be here, or who is coming but hasn't had that background of the last year and a half, and for people who have been here who who want to recap as well. So that's something that I would like to do as well. So yeah, I'll leave it there for today. But anyway, I just wanted to share about this amazing, beautiful thing that's happening on earth that I feel so lucky to be here for, and I just feel so passionate about. And I feel that the more people who come, and the more people who learn, and the more people who grow a desire to do things God's way, it could change the world. So, and that's the point. So, yeah, that's all for now. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.